scent of the night is very traditional. I've actually never talked about this on a live, and I don't know why, because this is in my arsenal all the time. As you know, my most favorite fragrances are like mid 80s to mid 90s fragrances. It's just a thing for me. It's nostalgic to me. They're usually very, very heavy, a bit artificial in a way. In any event, this is a fragrance that is very specific to its design house, because their other fragrances are not known to be as heavy or as warm as this. But this is simply Obsession. Obsession by Calvin Klein. We're talking about a fragrance that is very amber, very woody, very warm, but it has a powdery finish. So what I mean by that is when it's left on you, it sort of works down into your skin with a very, very powdery feel. The way Chanel number 5 is a floral, obviously. This is an amber woody aromatic fragrance. The Chanel number 5, when it sort of melts down into your skin after a while, it leaves a powdery scent. This also leaves a powdery scent, of course, based in amber and vanilla. But this opens with vanilla. I would say this opens with like bergamot. It opens with a little bit of basil, mandarin. So there's crispy things in there. There's a little bit of herbal in that. But those are just openings. Those openings do not stay long with this fragrance. And the reason they don't is because what you're left with is, of course, the heart of this. And the heart of this is coriander. I'm going to say sandalwood, oak moss, cedar. Those are those wood notes that's in the heart of this and will always, always last with you. You know, the top notes are the invitation, but they burn off. So if you imagine the invitation of a perfume is literally, the top notes that are the invitation are literally like an envelope that's handed to you to invite you to a party. And you say, oh, this looks so beautiful. But what really happens when you get there? So when you get there, the party is the heart. And then when you leave, the memory is the base. So the memory of this fragrance is amber, incense, vanilla, Civitine. I've talked about Civitine before. Civitine is an artificial factory created, a laboratory created version of civet, which is what used to be used in fragrance before, you know, people realized that wasn't necessary to do, and it's cruel. But the original civet is animal anal glands, and what they would do is they would use that in fragrances to even out the sweetness and the herbal of a lot of things. So they created something new many, many years ago called Civitine, which is a factory created element that goes into a fragrance like this to mimic what the real thing was. And so Civitine is in this, and of course musk. So you're talking about, again, a base of amber, incense, musk, Civitine. The heart of this is mostly wood notes: cedar, oak moss, sandalwood, a little coriander. You know, you get a lot of, you'll always get a lot of herbal in the heart of a fragrance. You will get it in the other areas, but it's definitely always going to be in the middle. And then, of course, vanilla is from the base, is back in the opening note as well. And again, mandarin, basil. This is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. I would call, what I like about this is it's sexy, it's sultry. It's not as romantic as it is sultry, if that makes sense. In my mind, I think of romance as something that is, roughly, and something that is, romance can be, as far as fragrance goes, it can be roughly, and it can be nostalgic in a way. This, while it can be romantic to some people, because there's fragrances like amber romance, and this is an amber, this verges on amber to sultry sexy. Not, and maybe not even, yeah, it is sexy. I don't know, it's so hard. I love descriptive words. In any event, Obsession. By the way, Obsession came out in 1985 and is still going strong. It's not for everybody. It does have an amazing sillage, and if you don't know what sillage is, sillage means how much the fragrance fills the room around you. And I like my fragrance to, I like my fragrance as something that introduces me before I'm even in the room. So I like people to go, oh, I can smell you in here. I can smell your fragrance. I love that. I love the feeling of that. Fragrance that I love so much that's been discontinued. Definitely. It is a male, they call it a male profile. So basically a fragrance that they used to say was for men. And that was Chemistry by Clinique. Totally discontinued. I absolutely love Chemistry by Clinique. And I wish Clinique would come out with it again. It was my favorite fragrance to wear all the time. The fragrance of the night also comes from the 99-cent store. I told you I'm falling in love with it. I'm falling in love with, I mean, I've always gone to 99-cent store, but in this case, I've had more time to sort of hang out in the aisle while waiting to be, have my grocery items boxed up and sent home. So with that said, one of the fragrances I found was this one. Look at the little bottle. And now it's not supposed to be an imposter in any way. It is just supposed to be what it is. So this was $1, and it's called Be Glam Eau de Parfum, and it's 1 ounce, and this was 99 cents. And over here, I have another one where the bullet there of the color is, so this is hot pink, there's a dark purple, an apricot, and like a traditional red. And they're just adorable. And the reason I got them more than anything was, well, I wanted to try them out. But what a fun little thing to have. And maybe if you have you're decorating a bathroom and you don't have, you're trying to work with a specific budget, that's a pretty little pop. It looks really nice and not, $1. Why not? Why not do that? And these would be great for like, as a gift. And to be honest with you, I sprayed it on. I'm going to spray it again. It smells like the original Paris Hilton perfume. That's what it smells like, which is not a difficult fragrance profile to create or knock off. In fact, because it's so, detox, there's a different scent for each one. Again, this is a fun item. This is not, I've actually had people message me and they're like, that perfume is not going to last and blah, 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 blah. Listen, I understand that. It's $1. And so, I've explained that the reason something is $1 and a reason another fragrance would be $200 is because you're paying for the designer name and you're paying for the quality of the ingredients and you're paying for the amount of the quality ingredients. So I think this is absolutely fucking adorable. It's so cute. I would say what a fun little gift for maybe somebody that's just trying out perfume, because I don't know what the other ones smell like. I'm going to show them over the next couple of nights. Or a gift maybe for a teen. Is it bad to buy a perfume online you never smelled before? No, I do that all the time. Sometimes, I've said this before and it's kind of ignorant, but I am a really big fan of packaging. So if the package is attractive to me, I want it all over me. If you have an attractive package, I definitely want to smell it. Let's do that again. Okay? Ready? We're ready? If you have an attractive package, I definitely want to smell it. There you go. So I do that. I buy them all the time. There was one I was talking about wanting to buy, and it's the, I just said it the other day and I forgot her name again. It's not Tia Carrere. Who the fuck did I say it was? Anyway, she has a perfume and the bottle looks so cute, but I'm sure it's not amazing. But I don't care. It was $10. Like, it's fun. Favorite male and female fragrances. That's so tough. I really love all of the special editions of Angel by Mugler. So like when they had Crypto Mint or the orange one or Angel Malt, Angel Leather, Angel Coffee. I love all of the special edition. And I love Angel for, quote, Angel for Men, but all of their special editions were amazing. And I have a ton of them. In fact, a couple of them I wasn't able to track down, and Detox tracked them down, and she gave me a really, really good suggestion, which was you can always find the hard to find ones at the airport. I think originally people think of Valentine's Day, they think of passion. They think of passion. So my fragrance of the night is Elizabeth Taylor's Passion, which is an original for me. I always remember my Nina wearing this. My aunts would wear this fragrance. This is a heavy fragrance. I'm talking heavy. Most people, whenever they think of Elizabeth Taylor, they first say, oh, white diamonds. Because there was a huge commercial push for white diamonds. That wasn't Elizabeth Taylor's original fragrance. Her original fragrance was Passion. And I like them both. I love them both. And I love all the variations of white diamonds, diamonds and rubies, diamonds and emeralds, sparkling white. I mean, there's so many. Elizabeth Taylor launched Passion in 1988. And to this date, even though, of course, she's not with us any longer, there are 18 different types of fragrances from the Elizabeth Taylor legacy. So there's also fragrances, quote, for the male profile. You can get Passion, quote, Passion for men. And anyway, so I'm Elizabeth Taylor Passion for Valentine's Day. That's what I'm wearing. That's what I'm loving. It's a woody, powdery fragrance. Woody and powdery, which I love. The I feel like I'm a burp. Hold on. I don't want to burp in your face. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, now I'm clear. Okay. So, this is a very layered fragrance. And what I mean when I say a very layered fragrance, every fragrance has a top note, which is the invitation into the fragrance, the first few things that you smell. Usually they'll burn off after a while. The heart of the fragrance is what connects the top notes and the base notes. And the base is the foundation. So if you can imagine a perfume being like a house, the foundation would be the framework. The heart would be the furniture. And the top notes, or the middle is the heart, and the heart is the furniture. The top notes are all of the decor, all the things that you can change out very quickly. The base of this would be, I'm going to say definitely, we're talking incense, leather, oak moss, patchouli, sandalwood, cedar, very woodsy in the base. The heart also takes some of the base and goes right into the heart as well, because it almost solidifies it. They want you to know with Elizabeth Taylor Passion how strong the fragrance is. It's so strong that it's not just in the base, it stays in the heart as well. So in the heart, you're talking about, I want to say definitely like orris root, which was in a fragrance that we talked about recently. Saffron and orris root was just the name of the perfume by Chorus. But rose, jasmine, there are the florals of this are mainly in the heart of the fragrance. And then you're also going to get some other florals in the top notes. But here's something interesting that is in the base note of this fragrance that I've never talked about before. And it's something that appears in the base of many of my signature fragrances. I'm talking about Coco by Coco Chanel, Chanel No. 5, Passion by Elizabeth Taylor, Cinnabar. We're also talking about, Youth Dew, signature. What appears in those fragrances that no longer appears in its original form, but something that appears, and it's a little uncomfortable to talk about, not because it's like a silly word, but because of its history. And that is civet. Civet is an ingredient that used to be in many fragrances in its natural form. Civet is basically a fragrance that comes from a civet, quote, cat, which is, I don't actually think they're from the cat family, but it's like a cat. It's a small mammal. And civet is basically what they would do is they would have the animal express its anal glands. They would take from that a very rich, fecal smelling, awful odor. They would infuse it into fragrances back in the day. And the civet would then balance out florals and turn the stern, crispy florals, the hard roses, the jasmines, it would turn them into a really beautiful, soft scent. I know it sounds really weird. Now, it sounds weird because, it's from a cat's ass, literally. But the part of it that's really fucked up is that this was an extremely painful experience for the civet animal. And so obviously, as time went on, people realized we're not doing that anymore. So now what happens is in fragrances that normally have that in it, there is an ingredient called civetone, which is a synthetic civet. So animals are no longer used in this. Of course, I believe that there's still companies obviously doing animal testing. Absolutely awful. But it's interesting to hear of a history like this of many of my favorite fragrances that when they first were launched and many years into production actually engaged in this type of cruel behavior with essentially these cats. And it wasn't like, scraping it out of a litter box. It was something that had to actually be pulled from their bodies. So yeah, civet is an ingredient that is in passion. And it's civetone is now used, but in any event, that's what it is. Yeah. So if you ever hear of civet, they're speaking of an animal called a civet. And then also from there, and some people pronounce it kivet. Some people say civet. It's just either whatever you want to call it, really. It's kind of like, tomato. I'm sure there's a rule depending upon whose house you're in. There's a rule. So in any event, just I had to share that with you. I've left that out of the discussion of some fragrances in the past that I know it's in, just because I do feel there's a bit of guilt, I think, in that. I mean, I don't wear perfumes that are the bottles of perfumes that I'm using were not they were manufactured then, but the actual bottle is new. Do you know what I'm saying? So clearly that behavior is not happening. I would hope not happening. They say that they're not happening, but who knows? All we can do is pray. Well, somebody was asking about fragrance of the night. Fragrance of the night tonight is one that's one of my favorites. I love the whole line of Elizabeth Taylor fragrances. I love them all. And then not only did Elizabeth Taylor have a line of fragrances, I think there were 16 total. But then some of the fragrances gave birth to other fragrances. So White Diamonds gave birth to Diamonds and Rubies, Diamonds and Emeralds, Diamonds and Sapphires, Black Pearls, Diamonds en Rouge. And then this one, which Morgan gave me because she knew that I loved all of them. This is a couple of years old, and it was a Christmas gift from Morgan, so I've used it sparingly because I don't always use all the same perfumes all the time. But this is a floral. This is a very unusual fragrance because the profile isn't one you always get. This is a woodsy floral musk. I know that sounds interesting. Woodsy floral musk, and this is White Diamonds Night. That's what it's called. White Diamonds Night. And again, this is woodsy floral musk. So it's based in musk, patchouli, sandalwood, but the top notes on it, and I've said before, I'm not usually a super fruity fragrance person, but I do like some of them. This has like apricot layered with mandarin orange. And they're sweet, but they're not sappy sweet, if that makes any sense. And then it's got bergamot in it. So yeah, it is, yes, Jeff, a bit earthy because of the musk and the woodsiness in it. But definitely not a chypre, not a floral chypre or a fruity chypre, which would be, more earthy, like oak moss or whatever. But definitely there's an earthiness to it. I love this one. It's really, really good. There are a lot of other fragrances, I think, that you could find more like, well, I guess you would, like drugstore or something. Versions of, not versions of the same fragrance, but styles like this. A style like this would be Charlie, if you know the fragrance Charlie. A style like this would be Timeless from Avon. You know, just different price ranges for everything. Some are a little more expensive than others, but I definitely believe if you like something, there's other fragrances like the one that you like that maybe aren't exactly the same, but it reminds you of that, and you can get them with spending a little less money. So yeah. Well, in men's profile fragrances, I generally gravitate towards something that is either lavender or highly aromatic. That's usually what I like. There it is. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. This is it. This is the one that I'm absolutely in love with. And David Rios gave me this as a gift and had it engraved in gold. Look at that. It says DW. Engraved in gold. And it's called L'Immensité. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's by Louis Vuitton. And I'm always fascinated with a lid that is magnetic. What's the most expensive fragrance I own? That's a good question. Probably Oud Bouquet by Lancome, which you can't really get at the department store. It's about $265 for a bottle. But it's beautiful, and I definitely use it sparingly. I have friends that use other fragrances that are more expensive than that, and that was a gift. That's the only reason that I wouldn't be able to buy that. I don't think. I mean, I would be able to buy it, but I wouldn't buy it. I don't think I'd spend the money on it.